You're listening to the Geriatric Mamas podcast with Jessica Raziri
and Sonia Tapley.
How, like, out of nowhere, you're like, can we just take a minute to get the feels out?
Moment. I don't even know why I'm crying. Oh, I'm crying because I'm literally about to start my period. So, like, everything makes me cry right now. But I was like,
what feels do we need to get out right now? And then you're like, we're recording?
Yeah, we're recording separately for, like, the first time in, like, so long.
I know.
I'm not okay. But I was like setting everything up, and I was just like, how do I do this again? What? And it's like, not to mention I'm in a different environment, so my setup is like completely different.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I just had like a moment.
I love it. You still have your ladder in the background.
Oh, she had to make an appearance. It's a signature move, right? It's a signature ladder.
And as annoying as it was when we had the mirror behind us at my old apartment, almost feel like you need one, like there.
Yeah, I need something. You want to know my plan if I stay here? I found some like really cute, I don't know how well it works. That's why I haven't pulled the trigger, but it's that stick-on wallpaper.
Yeah.
It's like a blush pink, and it's okay. I'm going to describe it, and it's going to sound so ugly, but I promise it's really cute. It's blush pink, and it's like a vintage feel to it, and it has like not flamingos. It has peacocks on it, and then it has bits of like sage and teal, and then it has like other like twine and stuff on it. It's a very Victorian vintage kind of like almost like anthropology kind of vibe. And then I'm going to put like, I have all those like wooden frames, and then just do like just photo gallery back here of that is kind of what my vision is.
That would be really good. Yeah.
So I have plans for her. Yeah. But in the midst of it, it's funny. So this ladder, I'm very proud of Hayden because I took this bad boy out of storage. First of all, I didn't think she was in there. And then I moved some stuff, and there she was. And I had another moment. I was like, oh, my ladder. That was like so annoying because this thing, like when Hayden was first learning to walk, he would grab onto this bitch, and then like she would make all these marks on the walls, and I was constantly repainting that one little area because it was just like grinding into the wall. And I was just like, damn, like, but she made a statement in all of our recordings. She was just back there, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, I got to set her up. And so I've had her up now for, I don't know, I want to say a couple of months. And when I first put her up, Hayden was like, oh, I'm going to climb this. And I'm like, no, you're not going to climb this. You can't climb this ladder. And I put the fear of God into him about things that I want him to stay away from. But I was actually just very honest with him. What I said was, I was like, this is a very special ladder to mommy. It's not. I mean, I got it at Home Goods. It's just not special. But I said that. I was like, this is a very special ladder to mommy. It's a decoration. It's not meant to play on. And if you move it, it's going to scratch the wall. So we don't touch it. And he's like, okay. I shit you not. He has not touched this thing once. Like once. He hasn't touched it once. Like he will use his little dyno bike and accidentally hit it and be like, oops, we don't touch that. And he just knows, like, we don't touch it. And I'm like,
that's good.
But then I had a moment of like thinking back of all the times that I've like put the fear of God into him. And I'm like, maybe I didn't have to go that far. Maybe I could have just gently explained the why, and he would have gotten it. Maybe he's a little smarter than I realized.
I mean, Annabelle needs to test the waters for every single thing. So, I mean, I'm very proud of him for not testing said waters.
I don't know why. Just something clicked with him with this ladder, and he just got it. And he's just like, all right, not going to touch it. She doesn't want me to. I'm like, is that easy? Okay.
Maybe he has no fascination because he got it all out when he was like 1.
There's something going on with my freezer.
Is that what that was? Is it trying to make ice?
It's probably trying, but I think my ice maker is broken. I think it's like it's doing this thing where I go to get ice, and then it's like the whole door starts moving. And at first, because like I was gone for a month, and so I'm like, did something happen? Like, did I lose power? And because there was a big block of like ice, so I took that out because I was like, is that the problem?
Like that? Yeah, I feel like you lost power.
So I took the block out, and then I tried restarting it again, and it was working sort of, but then it's still doing the thing. And I took out another block, and then I noticed that all of my coconut popsicles had been like melted and then like refrozen. So like I've clearly lost power. That's clearly was a thing. And so yeah, at night I will like just be sitting here watching TV, and then all of a sudden I'll hear my like freezer go and I'm like,
It's gonna become like a comforting feeling for you.
I feel like I should probably call maintenance, but that just feels so overwhelming to me. And like, I'm doing everything I can to not call maintenance, because even though like they would be here, the maintenance dude and I are like, we're bros. He would come and fix it in a second, but I'm just like, ugh, I just can't. So I've just, instead of using the ice maker, I've been reaching my arm in and just grabbing ice. And I'm just like,
aside from the coconut popsicles and the ice, did you like throw things away?
Am I supposed
that were
to?
in there? I mean, if it's like, I don't know what you have in there, but like if it's anything,
there's like snow all over the place too.
Oh, you have a really charismatic freezer.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking for Elsa in there. It's literally like an episode of Frozen is going on in
like,
there.
I don't think you could get food poisoning from, thawed and refrozen popsicles. Not from popsicles, but okay. I don't know what else is, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's like dino nuggets. I can toss them. I'm not married to them. It's dino nuggets. It's some broccoli, edamame. Mm-hmm. I have like a very bad situation going on in there. There's really not much. It's not. There's no like adult food besides the edamame. There's really nothing. There's no. You would never believe an adult lived in this house if you looked at all the food that was in here.
Well, yeah. No, I mean mine too. We have like 2 frozen pizzas, dino nuggets. Just like the food that you have to have on hand just in case. For a 5-year-old. So I'm sure though, if you did call maintenance, they would enlighten you as far as like how long the power was out for. So that it was
clearly long enough to melt all my popsicles. So
yeah, maybe give him a call.
Yeah,
give him a call. Chat it out. I can't.
I hate this. I hate this.
We lived in an apartment complex for almost 3 years, and I never wanted to call maintenance. It was like,
why is it? And like this maintenance guy is so nice. He's so cool. Like I passed him in the elevator, and he's just like, he'll still ask me about my windows, because when I first moved in, I had like a whole issue with the windows. Did I tell you about what happened?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. So we had a huge storm roll in. And like, you know how I am about a storm. Like I love a good storm. Yeah. And so I'm sitting here by the window. I'm like, this is perfect. I have like my dream ottoman. I'm sitting here by my window. The clouds are rolling in. It's a huge thunder showers coming in. That's what us Northeasters call them, thunder showers. Apparently Texans and everywhere else in the world don't call them that. We call them thunder showers. Good thunder showers coming in. And then all of a sudden I start getting wet. And I'm like, what is happening? And I realize the windows are not sealed. So like it's raining sideways. Like it is like probably, I'm exaggerating, but it seemed like 50-mile-per-hour winds. It was like just like thrashing. It was like good, like we were on tornado watch. Like that's the type of conditions that it was. And I'm like getting wet. The first couple spritz, I was like, maybe it's not a big deal. Like maybe it's there's an AC vent on top, and maybe I'm like any excuse, because I'm in huge denial of that's what's actually happening. And then it just starts going more and more and more, and I'm like, okay. And then then I close my blinds. I'm like, I'm not ready to move away from the window. I'm still enjoying this moment. But then I started noticing the blinds were like crying, and it was just like a bunch of like water coming down from like gushing water. But the thing is it was brown water.
Oh no. What?
Yes. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm very apparently a glutton for punishment, because everything, you as well, that we buy is white.
Yeah.
And so like my ottoman is, a cream color. It's not an Ottoman. What the hell is this? A Chase. There we go. It's not an Ottoman. It's a Chase. So it's a cream color. And so now I'm like moving it away from the window because it's like spraying in now at this point. Like the blinds aren't like cutting it. Like it's literally gushing in. And it was like and you know, when I moved in, I noticed, because you know, you have to do like the walk around and check everything. And I noticed that there was like, it almost looked like a rust color, like liquid or whatever on the trim, like the baseboards. And I put that on my thing. I was like, and I even marked and I said it looked like there was some kind of leak. There was some kind of weird like rust color, like orange residue. And it didn't register until that moment. And I was like, that's why. So it's clearly had been like an ongoing issue that the previous tenants, I don't know, that they maybe just ignored it. Maybe they had anxiety about calling maintenance like I did. I don't know. But they clearly ignored it. But I'm like, no, I literally need to be able to like sit here next to the window. That is my thing. This needs to happen. So I called maintenance and they had to like come out, have this whole crew come out and like seal the window. And then they were like spraying it. And then this other guy, I have a video, like I'm literally on this, like I'm on my like work call. And then I have like Billy Bob in the background, like, yeah, spray it again. Let's see. Don't see any leaks. And it's funny because they were like, you won't even know that we're there. We'll be very quiet. We'll just be very discreet. We'll be quick. And I'm like, okay, I have a call at this time that you guys are coming, but like, sure, if you think it'll be quick. No, they were literally like, oh, try it again. No, because he's on my balcony hollering down.
Yeah.
In his like country bumpkin voice. God bless him. In his overalls. It was a whole moment. And I'm like, I can't. So maybe that's why I'm just like, I can't do that to myself again. I'm not going to call about my freezer because what if it's another moment like that?
Right.
Can't handle
right.
It.
Well, I mean, freezers are already loud on their own, so you never know. It could be. You might be right. Maybe we just leave the freezer, just throw away the food, and hope for no more power outages.
So what's been going on? I feel like it's been forever. Like, I don't like this. I went from every single day with you again to like, now there's a screen separating us. What's been going on?
So busy. It's been so busy that it's like insane because it was like we hung out, went to Storyland on the Friday before you left.
Yeah.
We went to dinner, went home, and then it was basically bedtime because Annabelle was wiped out, so tired. So, and then we had something on Saturday. Sunday was busy. And then it went straight into Mike and my anniversary because he booked us a night in North Conway for our anniversary on Monday, which is normally a work day. And so I had actually scheduled something on Monday at like 11 or something. So I went straight from the weekend, like getting Annabelle out the door as fast as I could on Monday so I could go do this appointment on Monday. And then we drove straight to North Conway from there. Like I was throwing stuff in my suitcase to go because I didn't have time to pack. So it was just insane. And in the meantime, I'm
there for one day. I guess
we were there for one day, and technically it would have been, I think it was like, because you know we have like the calendar, like the podcast calendar, which is basically like the family calendar, so Mike can see everything. But I think he was just like excited about having a 5-day like weekend, getting stuff done around the house, and then going on like a little trip. Like I don't think he noticed that I had something at 11 on Monday. So it was like normally we would probably just go in the morning, like head over, relax, have a relaxing lunch, whatever. But anyway, so we got there at probably like 3. We had a late lunch at a country club because I wanted to like walk and get my steps in because we're trying to get steps in. So we had like a late lunch. It was very small. Had a margarita. This margarita was basically all tequila. There was like a splash of lime. Mike and I were dying laughing because I was going to be so drunk at like 3 p.m. And then we went, I was like, okay, I guess we're at a country club and this is how they do it in North Conway. So and then we went to check into our hotel, and he had booked this hotel because I really like the outdoor hot tub with like the fireplace and everything. But lo and behold, we get to our room, we go down to check it out, and none of the hot tubs were actually working. So he's like, okay, well, do you want to go back to the place where we had our first anniversary? Because they're not that far away and they have everything we want there. We probably wouldn't even have to leave. And I was like, sure. So we went to the White Mountain Hotel and it was just gorgeous. Like, basically, I wanted a view. I wanted to be able to sit down at dinner and just like look at the mountains, and like that's what we did. It was perfect. And we walked the grounds so I could get my steps in. It was like the goal of this whole trip was getting steps in. And then the next day before we had to drive home, we drove over to the Mount Washington Hotel. We wanted to have lunch, but we pulled up to the gate and we were like, hey, are we able to come and just have lunch on one of the patios and walk around? And she was like, yeah, sure. Do you want to park down here and get your steps in? Or do you want to pay 10?
You wanted to get your steps in?
She's like, do you want to get your steps in and park down here and walk all the way up the hill to the hotel? Or do you want to pay $10 and park in the parking lot? And I'm sure most people are like, let's just pay the $10 and park up in the top. But I was like, actually, I really want to get my steps in. So we parked like basically right next to her booth and walked all the way up this giant hill and walked all the way around to get to the part of the hotel we needed to be to have lunch. And Mike's like, okay, we're serious about these steps. Great.
Was he like, what the hell? I'm not trying to do this.
Yeah, he's like, well, I guess I'm getting my steps in with you. And then we had like a 2-hour like lunch just sitting on the veranda staring at the mountains again. And then we walked around the whole place and walked all the way back down. And I still didn't have 10,000 in.
Isn't that so depressing when you realize just how much it takes to get it? It makes you realize what like a lazy piece of shit you are.
Yeah. Like last night we had a fire and we like cooked dinner basically like on the fire because the grill wasn't working. And so I realized after dinner, after dark, Annabelle's ready for bed. I still had 2,000 left to go. And I was like, I better bust it out in our yard. Like, I'm just going to walk around our yard.
I feel like there's new people living upstairs. They literally are like a herd of fucking elephants. I am so close to being a Karen and putting a note on their door. Like, hello, are you okay?
Reminds me of Only Murders in the Building.
It's so aggressive. Like, oh my God. Are we literally just walking on our heels and nothing else? Do we have stilts that we're stomping around on? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
What, like, maybe it's like because it's like you and I grew up as ballerinas. We've just like known to walk on our toes and we're very light on our feet. So it's like, it's so aggressive to me when people just like don't naturally walk that way.
Yeah.
I can't handle the heaviness on the feet. I've taught Hayden how to walk on his toes, not like in a, you know, a prissy way, but just like to be light on his feet. Yeah. Because like, you know, the heavy heel shit is like, it's so aggressive. I can't. So I literally am just like, walk on your toes, walk forward, walk on your toes. And he gets it. Well, I'm trying to make up for all the damage that I caused on myself while in Maine. And so the past 3 days, I've had my asshole in the gym. And let me tell you, it is not, I'm basically like starting where I left off. And I think I should have probably started back a little bit and like worked myself up to where I was. But I'm punishing myself because I'm like, no, bitch, like you did this to yourself. You're going to deal with it. Like, like this is what you deserve. And so it's just, I come back to my apartment. I'm just like dripping in sweat. I'm like, oh God, it's like so bad. But past 3 days, I've just been, I'm like, I gotta get my shit together.
I've been doing my best. I've been trying to get my steps in. I've been trying to fast as long as I can into the day. And it's going so-so.
Well, in other news, we have to talk about Maternal Instinct. You've seen it, right? You watched it?
Yeah, I watched it. I did. I know. I'm not okay. Like, I got done watching it and I felt icky. Like, I'm like, where did this come from? Like, how can somebody be that wrong?
Okay, but first of all, can I just say I think I might have told you this, and I might have actually talked about it on the podcast at one point. Do you know what my biggest fear was while I was pregnant? What was your biggest fear while you were pregnant?
Just like losing the baby. Just
Okay. In what way? Like
miscarriage.
Okay. My biggest fear while I was pregnant, obviously the early part was miscarriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then once I was in the safe zone, quote unquote, my biggest fear, whenever people would ask me, what's your biggest fear? Usually people, what I've noticed, because I would ask other pregnant moms this too, like, what's your biggest fear? And they'd be like, well, and it was always related to childbirth. It was like being ripped open, shitting on the doctor. Like it was like stuff like that, right? If you had asked me what my biggest fear was, I would have said fetus harvesting.
Ew. Yeah.
Yes, that was my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that I was walking in a parking lot late at night at Target, walking to my car with my groceries, my hands are full, and all of a sudden I would have been like abducted, I would have been hit over the head, and then somebody would have taken a scalpel and then like harvest my baby out of me. That was truly my biggest fear, to the point where as I was leaving any parking lot, I would have my cell phone dialed in 911. All I had to do was hit the red button to call, and I was just like ready to go.
Yeah.
To my,
well, I mean, I feel like you have really good maternal instincts. See, me on the other hand, I was
I wonder, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, I wonder, not to cut you off, sorry, but I wonder, it was such an intense fear, and it was like, maybe that fear was there for a reason.
Yeah, because like when I was 8 months pregnant, I was living in this area where like the place where people went shopping was the same place that this family friend who was also like, she was a couple weeks ahead of me with her pregnancy. So we were living very close to this like central shopping area. And so she had actually gone out to Walmart in this town the day that I needed to actually head out to Walmart, which I mean, I don't normally shop at Walmart. I would just go over to like South Portland and go to Target, or Biddeford and go to Target, whatever. So anyway, she went to Walmart, and then next thing you know, my niece is texting me saying, hey, so-and-so went to Walmart today, and there were literal people trying to lure pregnant women into their van, and they would go up and they would send like a little old lady to go talk to said pregnant woman, and they would be like, oh yeah, something about, you know, some kind of like religion or something, and they would try to get her back to the van. Well, the old lady approached the family friend, and she was like, oh yeah, no thanks, and she went and got somebody to go walk her to her car because she didn't feel safe. And so I was actually going to go to this exact Walmart that day. And I actually decided to go because I'm like, at this point, it's all over Facebook.
Yeah.
It's all over Facebook. People are texting me. Like, I'm not going to like fall for any little old lady that needs me to go to her van. So anyway, it's like, it was in Maine. Like, this was happening in Maine. People were literally trying to steal pregnant women because you get like a 2-for-1 in that situation. Like, when you're pregnant, you're so vulnerable because you're like, especially at 8 months, like we're both 8+ months, and we're like waddling, you know, we're vulnerable, and we're just thinking about nesting. We're thinking about just getting home and like putting stuff in the nursery or whatever. We're not thinking about this little old lady who might be trying to kidnap us with like her grandsons in the van, you know, like, hello. So crazy.
It was just crazy because like I was telling a friend about like what my biggest fear was while I was pregnant. I don't know how we got on the subject. And then they were like, oh, well, you don't want to watch the latest Netflix documentary then. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, it's called Maternal Instinct. Maybe don't watch it. And I'm like, well, I'm fine now that I'm not pregnant. Like that was just like a fear while I was pregnant. And I watched it, and it was literally my fear there. So then Netflix did like that whole thing where it's like, oh, well, since you like this, you're going to like this. And then there was a movie. It was a scripted movie. It's not a documentary. It's called Stolen Baby. And so I was thinking that like, oh, is this the scripted version of what I just saw? So I watched it and I was like, well, it's a little different. No, it's actually another story. And it's about the murder of Heidi Broussard. Heidi Broussard. So it was a different story. And guess what? They're both in Texas. Yes.
You got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
So like, can we not? Like, literally, yeah. So truly, like, apparently my fear wasn't that crazy after all, because apparently, like, it's a thing. But back to Maternal Instinct, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it, some aggressive fetus harvesting happens. But can we talk about, okay, so basically you have this girl, Taylor Parker, who gets in this relationship with this dude named Wade. He's this like country dude, lives in Texas, kind of slow talking, like, you know, just all about his hogs and the good life, whatever. And she comes in and she's like obsessed with him for some reason.
Very obsessed.
And very, like, very obsessed. And then she does this whole thing where she's like, I think probably sensing that she's losing him. So she's like, I'm pregnant. She also, it had us kind of like a touch of like Anna Delvey, is that her name? Like that whole like con artist. Yes. That has a touch of that in there.
She's like trying to tell him and his family that she's rich and she's going to buy him a house, whatever ranch he wants.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, she's just like, oh, we're going to have the good life. We're going to buy this like multi-million-dollar ranch and we get all this stuff. We don't get the equipment on the property, but we get the land, we get this, we get that. And it's just like, we're going to live the dream. She had like faked like lawyers. So it was like they were trying to do like a check on her income. And so she's just like, well, here's my attorney. And it was like, you know, they would try to contact this attorney and the attorney would never respond. Or when they did, it was like odd hours of the night on the weekends. It was just like really bizarre. And then it was like, here's my bank information. And then they couldn't get in touch with anybody there. And it was just like a lot of really, there was so many red flags. Like it wasn't just red flags. It was like this bitch was like sending off flares from like every angle of her body. Like
there were some very serious and very clear signs that he probably should have exited that relationship.
Yeah.
As soon as it started.
But homeboy saw dollar signs, I think, and just kind of stuck with it. And then suddenly she's pregnant. And it's this like whole thing. And he's just like, okay, well, I guess I'll stick around because she's pregnant. And like the whole family was just kind of like, you know, uneasy about the whole thing.
Yeah, like his best friend was crying to him on the phone, like, you need to leave her. Like, you should not be with her, like crying. And then they weren't friends anymore.
There was just like so many weird things. And then it starts coming out that like friends from her past, because she's like posting this stuff online, which is just so crazy to me. Because this bitch is like posting like these bump updates and like, oh my gosh, like the whole, like all this stuff. Meanwhile, you have like her friends from her past are like, hold on, she can't get pregnant. She had a hysterectomy. There's nothing in there.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way. Like,
she bought a bump on Amazon.
Literally faked her entire pregnancy. So there's like a lot of people that I've talked to that are like, oh, I feel so bad for Wade. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm going to call bullshit here. You mean to tell me for 10 months, because she went to 10 months, like, oh, we're still pregnant. It's just like not ready to come. You went 10 months without him touching you. And he didn't even try. She's literally like, no, I'm going to go hide out in the bathroom for a few hours. You go to bed. And you were just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to tell you that shit wouldn't have flown.
Yeah.
Like in my situation. I don't think it would have been yours. And at the very least, not just to be intimate, but like you want to hear the baby. You want to hear it. You want to talk to it. You want to touch it.
Right. You want to feel like Keg.
You mean to tell me he didn't do any of that for 10 months? I'm not saying that like he was like into what she was doing, but I do think him and his family, especially his mother, even though she was like apprehensive, they still turned a blind eye to it.
They definitely turned a blind eye.
I think she was the cash cow and they were just waiting for a payout. I think they're like, in the very least, maybe we'll get the ranch out of the deal and then we can like dump her ass and move the fuck on.
Yeah.
and I don't think they understood where she would take it. I don't think they understood just how messed up in the head she was. You can't really put that on them, but I don't know that they were entirely innocent. I don't know.
Right.
I just feel like you can't be that dumb. You can't.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like his mom was just waiting for the shoe to drop. Like how is she going to tell you she's not pregnant? You know what I mean? I think his mom was definitely expecting her to not be pregnant.
Yeah.
But like not fully knowing how she was going to go about it.
They were expecting a miscarriage. They're like, oh,
Right.
just wait for the miscarriage. It's going to happen in like 8-9 months. Here it comes.
Right. But she stretched it out to 10 months for some reason. I don't know why.
Because even her former doctors, that whole thing also really annoyed me because they were like, her former doctors that literally performed the surgery of her hysterectomy were like, we knew she couldn't get pregnant. We knew this was like, we saw it all on Facebook, and they were like, we were in a hard situation because of HIPAA laws. We can't say, hey, like we can't publicly say like she's lying, and we can't disclose patient information. But at the same time, we were put in a hard situation because we know the truth, but we can't say anything. And so then they were like, when we knew that she was like past the point where she could like, have a miscarriage, they put the nursery and all the staff on alert. They basically did like a code pink they thought that she was going to try to steal a baby.
Yeah.
So like, you think that is probably going to happen, but like you can't do anything else. Like it was enough to make you alarm your staff and do code pink and like put the nursery on lockdown. I just wonder, like, was there anything else they could have done? Could they have like, because it's like you have like your therapist, right, who is like protected by, you have like doctor confidentiality, where it's like anything you say, you're protected unless you are going to put yourself or somebody else at harm, right?
Yeah, so if they thought she was going to steal someone's baby, they probably could have.
Right, that's my point. So it's like, if you thought that she was going to steal somebody else's baby, couldn't you have like gone to the police or like or something and been like, listen, we can't do XYZ because of this, but we want you to know that this is going on, and then have them do like some kind of investigation.
Maybe like keep her under surveillance or something.
Yeah.
Just like follow her. Just follow her. Keep everybody safe, because there's pregnant people in the world.
Oh my God. It's like pregnant women have enough to worry about. I like now it's like and I always thought that like my like fear was just so ridiculous and irrational, and I chopped it up just because it's like, well, I watch a lot of true crime, and so that's where my head goes, and it's just so ridiculous. But then it's like seeing this, and then like the other movie that followed after, and then I fell down the rabbit hole of like investigating that whole story, and then all these other stories started coming in. It's like, no, it's actually a thing, and so you are justified in having that fear. And it's like on top of everything else that pregnant women already have to worry about. Now let's just add this.
You have women who are just pick-me's, who are trying to keep their man. They're just trying to keep their man, so they might come and steal your baby out of your stomach while you're still alive.
I also read that this was not her first fake pregnancy thing. She had done this like back in 2016, and she had done it like a couple more times. I think she had like faked her pregnancy like two times prior to this big grand finale of the murder.
Yeah. And what's even crazier, though, is I don't know how old she was when her first two kids were born, but she wasn't really a big part of their lives. She had split custody of them, and the son.
Her mom has custody. Yeah, her mom has custody of her kids.
Yeah, her son didn't want to spend time with her, so he wasn't there, and her daughter would go see her sometimes on the weekends, but she didn't really spend much time with her kids that were here, like Earthside.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just insane to me. It's like, was she doing this to keep a man every time? Or I don't know. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah. They said that she just like loved attention on her. She was always had something wrong with her, always in the hospital, always doing selfies from the hospital bed. Like, oh, I'll be okay soon. Just love that sympathy.
She needed that validation.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. So pregnant women, like Jessica, do like Jessica did and have your phone dialed to 911. If you feel unsafe, you're unsafe because you have real maternal instincts. And so you can just go ask security to help you to your car. Or just better yet, bring somebody with you when you go places.
But also, too, maybe like if you have what you think in the moment is an irrational fear, don't chop it up as being an irrational fear, because maybe it's not actually that irrational, and maybe you have that fear for a reason.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe.
not to get like really dark and creepy, but like, what if like that was like written in my script somewhere,
Mhm.
right? Like that could
Yeah.
have happened, but then
Mhm.
there was like something that was protecting me that like put that like weird crazy fear in my head so
Mhm.
that I stopped it from happening. Like, who knows?
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Listen to yourself.
Yeah. Like you can get a feeling about someone. Like you don't even have to be their
Mhm.
boyfriend. You don't have to be their
Yeah.
best friend. You can definitely, if your spidey senses are going, you can, I mean, everybody loved her at the victim's wedding because she was the wedding photographer at the victim's
Mhm.
wedding. And everybody loved her, but they also all felt weird about it because it was like this
Yeah.
instant connection. It was like this instant connection, and she was like immediately like just part of the friend group, like almost like she could have been a bridesmaid. But
Yeah.
everybody was also doing a double take on that, like why is it like this? It shouldn't be like that. That's weird.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are like the extremes that we need to watch out for. If somebody
Mhm.
is that easy to incorporate into your friend group or into your life in general, then you got to use your discernment, I guess.
Mhm.
And it was crazy because her sister, after she was talking about it, she referred to her as the actual devil. And it's crazy because it's almost like you have to be the actual devil to do what she did. She
Yeah.
even mentioned that. I remember during one part when she's at the end where the officer is talking to her and she's by herself, she was trying to explain that the victim was telling her to take the
Oh my
baby.
God.
She,
Yes.
and like that part I think was actually true because the victim was telling her to take the baby because she was dying and she didn't want the baby to die too. So she's like,
Mm.
please get the baby out. Please get the baby out. I'm dying. But the fact that like she could recite that to the officer and she's just sitting there having a matter-of-fact conversation about that. Like, can you imagine just being like matter-of-factly, yeah, she was telling me to take the baby because she was dying.
Ugh.
Like, ew, I would not be okay having that conversation.
No.
I would
No.
not, like, nobody in their right mind is okay just saying, yeah, she was telling me to take the baby because she was dying.
You would have to like, oh God, this goes into like forensic psychology, but it's like you'd have to like disassociate
1000%.
like
There's,
completely to be able to just get through a conversation like that as a matter of factly as
yeah.
she was. Like it was just like so gross, so
And not
creepy.
once did she cry
No.
until she received her death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
That's when she started crying, was when she was like
Oh
sentenced
my
to death.
God. I loved the doctor that came in to check her and the fact that he said it right in front of her. Yep, nope, definitely no baby came from here.
Right.
Like, while
No
she's right
baby,
there.
no baby was up in there. No baby came out of there.
Nope, no baby came out of here. Yeah, it was just like, oh my God. Like, because I took a minute, I was like, wait, is she in the room right now? Is she right there while he's saying this? And she was,
Yeah.
because he pulled the curtain and there she was just sitting there. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder like what was going through her mind in that moment. Like,
Yeah.
did she have an oh shit moment, or was she so delusional that she had, because you know how like pathological liars can convince themselves of like, this is the story, then this is
Yeah.
what's happening. Like, was she so far gone that in that moment she was still convinced herself, like, no, like I did have this baby. This is what happened. Or
Yeah.
was she like
Well,
shitting herself?
she
Like,
had that
you know what I
moment
mean?
where like after that it put the camera back on her face and she was like she just like
Yeah,
rolled her eyes and
she
like
was
sighed.
annoyed.
Like she was genuinely annoyed with the
Yeah,
doctor. Like
yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, is this your reaction? Like that's your
yeah.
reaction? It's so
and then
bizarre.
even the cops are just like, we're done with this now. We're done with this like whole like you had the baby and you don't know what happened. Like clearly, like
Yeah.
we know what happened here. So now we just need you to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
And she's just like in her friggin' and I know that she's from the South, but to me, like her accent just seems so fake and over the top. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's just like, ew, like stop. Like
She's
gross.
mine. She's mine. That's my baby.
Oh, did you also notice too when she got pulled over at first? She's like, my husband. Bitch, he's not your husband. I noticed that. I was like, ooh, wow. Yeah.
Yikes.
She's like, my husband, he's at the hospital. He's waiting for me.
Oh no.
Wow. You know what cracked me up? It like so when she calls Wade, she's on the side of the road. She called Wade. She's like, I just had the baby on the side of the road. And he's just like, all right, let me finish up what I'm doing. I'll be over there.
Yeah,
No
I mean, yeah, he was so mad at her at that point. Like, I don't think he even believed there was a baby, which thank you. But also, he's like, okay, well, let me just finish up what I'm doing and I'll get there when I can. And she's like, okay.
Okay.
Dude, like, I cannot imagine being so obsessed with a man that I'm going to fake a pregnancy.
No, that's gross.
What? First of all,
disgusting.
Faking a pregnancy because you're obsessed with a man, I'm sorry, go find a man that loves you.
Yeah.
Or maybe just check yourself into the precinct.
Yeah, maybe you should just go get help because you're clearly not right in your head.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like this whole episode is like one giant terrifying warning sign. So, I think we should probably leave our listeners with some kind of tips. So, if you're pregnant, I asked chat for some tips for you to ensure that you do not end up on maternal instinct.
Yeah. Number one, don't leave your house. Number two, don't make friends with anyone. Yeah,
don't leave your house. Don't have friends. Just don't have a life at all, actually. And that'd be great.
Yeah, don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, just don't talk to anybody. So the first one, don't ignore uncomfortable behavior just because someone seems nice. So this goes with what you were saying about like the little old lady, you know, they'll use that as like a ploy because it's just like a sweet, innocent old lady or like a child that needs help and like lures you in. Pregnancy can make people unusually invested, intrusive, or possessive. Pay attention if someone pushes past boundaries, becomes overly attached to your pregnancy, tries to isolate you, makes comments that feel controlling, treats your baby like they have ownership. Remember, she was doing that to that one girl.
One of her friends. Yeah.
Number two, keep medical information private if you want to. You don't have to share your due date, doctor's office, appointment schedule, birth location, hospital plans, complications. General time frame is enough. I think this is a big one. I know a lot of women will do like the whole like expecting on this date. I didn't even think of that. And I know like due dates are a moving target, but yeah, I think that's a good tip. Maybe just kind of keep that to yourself. It's just like those like first day of school boards. Like I'm going to do a first day of school board for Hayden so I have it for like his like, you know, baby book, but I'm probably going to blur out some things. Like I don't want to post what school he's going to. I don't want to post favorite things because what if like, you know, strangers could use that just coming up to him and being like, "Oh, I know you like XYZ. Come with me," you know?
Yeah.
Tip number 3, be careful who gets access to your home, especially late pregnancy. Don't feel obligated to host. Don't give spare keys casually. Trust your discomfort if someone keeps dropping in. So if you like get that weird vibe, trust it. Don't post your location in real time. If sharing online, post after leaving. Avoid tagging appointments. Avoid showing routines. Pregnancy already makes women more visible. So I think that's a good one. Even just like, not even if you're pregnant, just like in general for moms, like I was doing this, like being in the moment, like, oh, this is where we are. And then I actually read something, it was like a few months back, of like not to do that. It's like big safety hazard. And I felt so stupid for not even thinking about it. So I now try to do it after the fact. Like, so if I post something and tag a location, I promise you I'm not there. I've probably haven't been there for days or like hours or whatever. Like it's not a thing. So I think that's a good one. Have at least one person who knows your plans. So if meeting someone, share location, share timing, check in afterwards. That's you. Have a bestie that has your location like I do.
Yeah.
At all times. Maintain boundaries with helpful people. So watch for insisting on being involved, showing up uninvited, overriding your decisions, making you feel guilty for saying no. Support shouldn't feel like pressure. Number 7, keep control of your transportation, especially in late pregnancy. Have your own ride option. Keep your phone charged. Know how you'd leave if uncomfortable. And then number 8, don't dismiss your intuition because pregnancy hormones are blamed. Pregnant women often get told, you're emotional. Maybe, but discomfort still deserves attention. I think that's a big one because that was like one of the things that I truly chopped my whole intrusive thoughts about. It was just like, I'm just hormonal. I'm being irrational. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. This is over the top. It's just because you've watched too many true crime shows. Like, it's not a thing. Don't worry about it. And it's just like, clearly it is a thing.
There's a reason why true crime shows exist. Because
exactly. True. It's true. There's truth to it. Yeah. 9, protect legal medical privacy before delivery. So consider who can receive updates, who's on the emergency contacts, visitor expectations, photo sharing boundaries. And then 10, pregnancy doesn't mean being agreeable. You can say no visitors. I'm not comfortable with that. We're keeping that private. That doesn't work for us. Those are all really good. And just I think the biggest one in that though is just like when it comes to being pregnant or just being a mom and you're like out in the wild with your child alone, listen to your own gut and your own intuition, as crazy as it may feel in the moment. Listen to it because you never know. Like you're having that thought and that feeling for a reason. It may not be at the level that you're fearing, but it's probably for a reason. So just listen to it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe carry some mace.
I think it's illegal, but yeah, you can carry that.
Oh, can you carry pepper spray?
Yeah, pepper spray I think is okay, but I'm pretty sure mace is illegal.
I mean, I don't know. I don't carry either, but that's my advice.
Yeah.
Also, what else? Oh, there's a little birdie thing. Have you ever heard of the birdie thing? It like chirps.
No.
It goes on your keychain. So it's like this device where if you're in an emergency, you press a button and it automatically like alerts the authorities, and then it starts chirping like loudly to let people know that there's something wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
I was reading too recently before I saw the show, but if you're being abducted and to teach this to your kids also, but just for anybody, if you're being abducted, don't scream for help because like what happens in that moment when somebody screams for help, everybody freezes and they assess and they take a beat to determine like, is this real? Do you really need help? They need direction in that moment. So if you're being abducted, start screaming what you see. Man with a beard, white truck, call 911. I need somebody to come stop or whatever. Like call 911, man with a blue car or woman with red van or whatever it is. And then that way you have like descriptors. And usually in those moments, the person who is like doing the abducting will stop because they're like, oh shit, she just gave like a whole description of what's happening. I'm just going to back out of this right now and leave. And usually because if they move you to another location, chances of you being found alive are significantly, I think it goes down to like 10% chance. It's like so you need to stop that in its tracks. So do not scream help, you scream descriptors of what is going on and what's happening and tell people what to do. Call 911, I'm being abducted, man with a beard, man with tattoos, man with whatever the hell is happening, blue shirt, white pants. Maybe he can take me. That sounds kind of nice.
I feel like we're taking that boosted the mood. I feel like we're taking a dark turn, and then like that happens.
Actually, nothing to see here. Everything's fine. Just leave me alone.
We're fine, both of us. I don't know who's abducting who.
Just kidding.
Oh
no, he has gray sweatpants. Help.
Erase that laugh. It's awful. Yeah. Backwards hat. Whatever.
I don't know what to do with myself.
All right, I heard Anne Hathaway is pregnant at 40.
Yeah.
So if she's listening,
she's 43 and she's pregnant with baby number 3, I think.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that you should, if your best friend is giving you red flags about anyone, a new friend, or a boyfriend, or, girlfriend, whatever. If your best friend is telling you that they see red flags, you should listen to them, because I strongly identify with Wade's best friend. So
yeah. Well, okay, you say that and I hear you, but then that would make me Wade.
Mm-hmm. In multiple situations.
And you're okay with just saying, yeah, uh-huh. Yeah. No, you bitch.
Yeah.
I'm like, Wade's an idiot. Wade's dumb. And you're just like, well, I identify as his best friend, so what does that make you, boo?
That's what I was trying to text you this morning. I'm like, she doesn't get it.
It didn't register until this moment.
Yeah. You hearted one thing and then she didn't see the rest, or she doesn't get it.
I was like, oh, cute. And then I did start kind of thinking about it. I was like, but if that's his best friend, wait, that would make me Wade.
Wow, and we're just now there.
I hate you. I don't even know why we're friends. You're kind of awful.
Oh no.
Well, I think Anne Hathaway should listen to this episode and take our tips to make sure that she's not a victim of fetus harvesting, because it is apparently a really real thing. Right.
And I mean, she's an actress, so I'm sure it's times like a million for her that people would.
But she also has bodyguards all over the place and making sure.
I hope so.
Heightened security, which us peasants don't have. So we have to worry about fetus harvesting. Yeah, her privilege, Anne Hathaway and her privilege does not have to worry about fetus harvesting. She is protected. She is good. She's not in our fetus harvesting class.
Yeah. Good. Well, that's good for her. I'll just keep carrying my pepper spray and my hairspray.
I think this is where we end the episode, because we're just done.
Oh, man. Okay. We actually did do that, though. We actually bought hairspray instead of pepper spray one time, you and me. Because
we did.
Yeah, we did do that because we thought it was just as effective as pepper spray, because why wouldn't it be? It's full of chemicals.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you spray somebody in the eyes with hairspray, you can't tell me that's not going to hurt. It's going to sting enough for you to be like, let me.
Yeah, so maybe we should just tell people to buy hairspray.
Yeah, like the tiny little portable hairsprays. Tiny Aquanet.
That one held people up through the 80s, so.
Yeah, in high school, I used to use that shit to kill spiders. Every time I see a spider, well, but then.
It's tried and true.
No, but they would get stuck to the wall because it was hairspray.
Can you imagine?
So then it would be later, in the night, my dad would come down to say goodnight and stuff, and you would just have this graveyard of spiders stuck to the wall, and they were just these circles and a nasty spider, and he'd be like, you could at least clean it off. I'm like, ew, I don't want to touch it.
I don't know how we made it to 43, folks. I don't know how we got here.
I don't know how we got here, but here we are. So anyway, well, that concludes this episode. Before we say more,
good night.
Good night. Thank you for listening. Be sure to tune in next week. Your support is keeping the podcast going. You can help by following, subscribing, rating, reviewing, and especially by telling a friend to listen anywhere or watch on YouTube.
For more info, you can check out our website at geriatricmamas.com. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at geriatric_mamas, on YouTube at Geriatric Mamas, X at Geriatric Mamas, and follow our group page on Facebook, Geriatric Mamas.
If you have a topic idea you'd like us to discuss, are interested in being a guest, or simply have a funny geriatric story to tell, you can go to geriatricmamas.com and hit be a guest or send us your story.